Welcome back to another episode of the PokeTable Podcast. We are small business owners that are chasing the dream of selling Pokemon cards. And each individual episode, we're going to be going over the latest Pokemon card news, market updates, giving our back and forth on opinions about each other's businesses. So if you're a fan of Pokemon businesses, small businesses, or Pokemon in general, this is a good podcast to watch. My name is Logan. I'm here with Zippy's Card Corner. My name is Logan with Zippy's Card Corner, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Alex with Poke Legends TCG.
Awesome.
So today, we're going to talk about a few different things. I really wanted to highlight some of the cool things about running a Pokemon card business. I know in previous episodes we've talked a lot about some of the challenges and hurdles. And by the way, please like and subscribe to this channel. Super important to us. Please share with your friends. We'd be forever grateful.
We would.
But yeah,
Please do.
we'd be eternally grateful. But yeah, with that, Logan, let's start this off with the news.
Sure. Yeah, we can kick things off. So we had a big reveal yesterday by Pokemon at the Nintendo Direct. So Pokemon dropped a couple of things that most weren't expecting. So we can dive into those. To start off, they revealed a couple of more Mega Evolutions. So Legend ZA is the Pokemon game that comes out in, a month now. A little over a month. And we saw four new Mega Evolutions, 5 new designs. So we saw the Kalos starters, so Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja. And the thing that I want to point out with Greninja is that we've already had a Japanese trademarked set called Ninja Spinner revealed. And so there was a lot of speculation at the time about what Pokemon could headline that set. And we thought it was Greninja, but this almost confirms it. So the design is like Greninja with like a spinning shuriken. Like it's a good design, but it definitely almost confirms that that's the case.
Yeah. And we also got another one I wanted to highlight, another fan favorite, Raichu.
Yeah.
There's 2 different versions, right, of Raichu.
Yeah. So it's weird because Legend ZA hasn't even come out yet. Like it comes out in, like I said, about a month. And they revealed a new DLC called Mega Dimensions. And it's a paid DLC. And I don't recall if it's going to be available on release day, but it just feels a little weird to have this paid DLC available. Now, to be fair, with the DLC, they revealed Mega Raichu, and it's one of those weird ones like Mega Charizard and Mewtwo, where you have Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y, and so there's 2 distinct designs, likely 2 different typings. So that'll be really cool to see in the TCG. Like all of these Mega Evolutions, I could easily see have amazing like SARs, and the collecting world could go wild. So those are the Mega Evolutions that were revealed. I'm really excited about them. I don't think that any of the designs I really fell flat. Greninja, I wish they could have done more, but the argument I guess is like Greninja's already a super cool Pokemon, so like what more could you do?
Yeah.
But I'm excited. How do you feel about him?
I'm excited. The 2 different versions of Raichu were particularly
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
There's one of the versions, I think it's Raichu X and Y. One of
Yeah.
the versions, he's like got these super long legs, and he's like
Yeah.
7 feet tall now. And
Yeah.
then the other version, there's like a few more. It's a little bit more subtle, which I think I'm a little bit more of a fan of. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they're illustrated as in the trading card game. So
Now,
super
do
cool.
you think that so we have Inferno X.
Yeah.
We're then going to have Mega Dream EX,
Yes.
and that one will likely be headlined by Mega Dragonite, which
Yeah.
was the very first new Mega Pokemon revealed. Um, do you think we'll start to see the newer Mega Evolutions in that set? Or do you think it
Um,
might even be later?
it's hard to say. I think we're probably going to get a trickle, some in this
Sure.
set and some in other sets. One thing I wanted to ask you about is so we've gotten a few reveals of brand new megas,
Yeah.
and I don't know how you feel. I feel like they're kind of missing the mark on a few more of these and what they're hitting. But
Yeah.
what do you think? Like the Mega Dragonite in particular. I mean, I feel like they could have done that one better.
Mega Dragonite, I feel disappointed in.
Yeah,
With such a iconic Pokemon, like, they really had an opportunity to make it insane.
yeah,
And I don't think they did. And I
no,
I think that's okay. And they're not gonna hit it every single time, but that was a disappointment. That was
yeah,
one that I felt like they really should have, d- done some A/B testing and
yeah,
gauge the sentiment. Yeah, the rest of them I think have been pretty okay. Like Mega Greninja again, there's not much difference.
yeah,
There's not much difference. Mega Delphox I think looks cool. It's like a witch, and that one's fun. Um,
yeah,
Chestnut looks like a Digimon. I've
yeah.
noticed,
He does.
um, which I thought was it's fine. I mean, I liked
Yeah,
Digimon. Not nearly as big of a fan of Digimon as Pokemon, but it was
yeah.
fine. Um,
And then
yeah,
there was uh, Halucha. That-
Hawlucha.
Halucha.
I
That one
thought
was okay.
I thought
Like
that
Rey
one was okay.
Mysterio vibes.
Yeah, yeah. It had an interesting it was fun. Uh it's already like a the design didn't change much. They
Yeah,
added some cool flair, and I thought that was I will take that.
yeah,
Compared to that's what I'll say. Mega Dragonite really set the bar low.
yeah. I do.
And and so, I will really appreciate, sort of anything that goes above that bar.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm kind of holding out for maybe a different version of
yeah.
Mega Dragonite.
I don't know,
Maybe
man, but we'll see.
we'll see. Yeah, yeah. So
But yeah,
um,
so we had a couple of megas revealed this past week.
yeah, yeah. And stay tuned for more because I have a feeling we're gonna get some more reveals in the
Yes,
coming weeks.
100%. We have a lot more.
Yeah. And speaking of reveals, we got some more Inferno X reveals.
Yep.
Now we haven't gotten any of the SIRs yet, so hopefully we'll be getting those in the hopefully like this week, right? I mean, it's usually about 2 weeks or less before release is usually when we'll start getting um, some the secret rare reveals. So
Yeah.
stay tuned
So
for those.
yeah, so
Um,
reveals are starting to trickle in. We
yeah,
have a couple of illustration rares that have been shown off, and we have some EXs and mega, cards. We have the Mega Heracross EX, so we know what the attacks are going to be like. Obviously, it's a grass type, so we have some information. It will just be probably a couple days before we start getting, illustrations of some of the hitters this set.
yeah. I mean, and I'm super stoked for. I'm hoping Mega Charizard gets an SIR, and I'm also hoping that Mega Gengar gets an SIR. So fingers crossed. I
Well,
know we're
so
getting the Mega Attack rare Charizard, but I'm hoping for an SIR as well.
yeah,
There were some leaks, right?
yeah.
But nothing confirmed.
Yeah, so for Phantasmal Flames, we'll definitely get the Gengar. We'll definitely get Charizard. For Inferno X, I just the Mega Charizard is if that leak is true, I don't know. We're done for.
We're done
Um,
for.
but I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There seems to be a lot of hype around this set. So it's interesting because as a Pokemon fan, I'm excited. As a Pokemon business, I'm excited. So we got a big couple weeks ahead of us.
Yeah, for sure. And then we also got a new game revealed called Pokopia. It's a
Pokotable.
simulation game similar to like Animal Crossing, Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think it looks interesting. It's not my cup of tea, but I definitely think there's a market for it.
100%.
So there are a lot of people that love Animal Crossing that love Minecraft. So it'll be interesting
Don't
to
love
see how.
Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. It definitely caters to the more casual fan.
yeah,
But I can totally see a ton of people just like sitting there on their Switch too, playing it for, a couple hours on a rainy day. Just kind of the cute, Pokemon vibes. I think it's a smart move. Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, it's an interesting take.
yeah. It's interesting too. Like, so we got Pokemon TCG Pocket that released about a year ago. We have Legend ZA that's releasing in a month. And then we have a new simulation game of Pokopia. Like, and
Yeah.
then that doesn't count like um, the normal Switch 2 games,
No,
like
no, not a
so
mainline game.
yeah, it's not mainly. So it's interesting to see how many games that Pokemon is pushing out. And so far they've all been successful. I mean, well, we think Legends ZA will be successful, but TCG Pocket was certainly extremely successful. So it'll be interesting.
Well, yeah, and I want to tie it back to the TCG because I think that's what you were getting at with, Pokemon Pocket about how that sparked an entire new craze of Pokemon cards and Pokemon
Yeah,
card fans. I think Legends EA will have, I don't know if it'll be a similar effect, but it will have an effect on
yeah,
people getting back into trading cards because they played this new Pokemon game for the first time in several years. And like, oh, I remember the card game. Let me play, again. And then they're, swept up in, the current market that is Pokemon. So
yeah,
more potential for even more people to get into the hobby over the next like 2 3 months. So it'll be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, for sure. And then on to the business updates. So Logan, you have your big drop this weekend. Do you want
Yeah,
to talk a little bit about that?
sure. Yeah. So this is, I think, the third English Pokemon drop we've done at Zippy's Card Corner, and it's sort of been at the cadence of once a month. So this is kind of the September English drop. It's much bigger than what we did last month. So it's almost double the amount of product.
Insane.
And even last month I was surprised by how much product we had. So with this week this drop, which takes place today on Saturday, you guys won't have, you will have seen this a week from, or a day after the drop happens. But that will be there. I'm excited for it. As a business, I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, there's all these different strategies on how to get capital, and I want to, you know, save it for a little bit, but we have the Inferno X release coming up. And so, in my head, I'm thinking of, okay, when I sell this stuff today, what can I use that capital to put into an investment of Inferno X for release? Um, and so that's just an interesting thing to think about. Like, I've been caught so many times where I've invested too heavily in a certain Japanese set that I thought was going to do better, it didn't. Or have invested in a set that's already been released and was like, I want to get in on this, but it was too late. And so I had actually tied up too much money into that, set that I couldn't, that I would have spent, on a maybe newer release at another time. And so uh, yeah, this drop is sort of, I'm taking what I learned from last drop, applying it to this drop. Hopefully things go well like they did last drop. And, I can take advantage of the capital that I get today and over the next couple of days to put aside for, Inferno X pre-orders that are happening probably next week. So,
Yeah. So you highlighted on it a little, but um, the release, let's say release week for any new set is very stressful for business owners.
yeah,
Okay, because the prices are
it's,
so volatile. It's so easy to be upside down on because we're working with really razor thin margins.
yeah,
15% sometimes. Um, So if the prices change just a little bit, then we can easily be upside down on our product
Yeah.
and get in trouble. If we've, especially if we've overly invested in, any one thing, So
And we can talk a little bit more about our strategies for Inferno X in a second, but I want to talk
yeah,
about what your drop last weekend was and how that went. Because I have
yeah.
mine this week. I'm excited for it. You've already seen, I won't spoil anything, but I want you to, give your take on how last week's drop went for Poke Legends TCG.
Yeah, no, the last drop went awesome. And so our drop was last Sunday. Um, and we went live at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we sold out of pretty much everything by about 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
So we
Wow.
sold out of almost everything by 8 p.m. And then by the end of the day, we sold out of everything. Like we didn't have one single thing left from the
Yeah.
drop. So yeah,
Congrats,
it
dude.
went
That's
super well.
crazy. Yeah.
And it was one of our biggest drops. It wasn't the biggest, but it was one of our biggest. And the coolest thing about that drop was that one was the first one where that was we did it only 2 weeks after the previous drop.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
you're
it was
you're picking up the
yeah.
consistency.
So we're picking up the cadence. I'm hoping to continue that where we start doing 2 drops a month. Um, and every one of my favorite things about it though is everyone that was on the site at the drop time was able to pick up something cool.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
Yeah.
So as long as you were there at the drop time, and that's my biggest goal for these drops, and that's one of the things that I keep in mind, and to make sure I have enough product and for everyone that's on the site at the
Yeah.
drop time to get something cool.
100%. Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Like, because at the end of the day, it's like that's why we do this is like, you know, as small Pokemon businesses, we don't have access to distribution. And so at least my thought process for English Pokemon cards is I want to give people the opportunity to buy Pokemon cards at a good price. I'm not selling at market price, can't sell MSRP because, I have to make something, but selling it at the closest I can to MSRP, so that people can feel like they can buy Pokemon cards at a decent price without having to go stand in line, fight, people that are, bringing, their entire like family to clear out Target at 8 in the morning. Um, so I'm so happy that you said that because that's the goal. Like I'd love to get, everyone on my site to be able to get, product today as well. So I'm hoping that's the case.
yeah, for sure. And stay tuned for next weekend because we're going to talk about how
Yeah.
Logan's drop went.
We'll go over
So
it.
make sure you tune in for next episode to see how that went.
Yeah.
Um, and then let's talk a bit of strategy. So we talked a little bit
Sure.
about it. It's a very volatile week for a Japanese release, okay?
Yeah.
Because prices can swing literally in a few hours, for a new
Yeah.
Japanese release. And that's how volatile it is. So, and then as business owners, there's a lot that we have to wrestle with, right? Pre-orders can get canceled. Um, should we have it available at release day or
Yep.
like a couple days after release where, some of the volatility, some of that dies down a little, still volatile, but it is a little bit less. All these things we sort of wrestle with as store owners. So Logan, let me hear what your strategy is. What's the kind of pulse that you feel
Yeah.
for Inferno X? Like, have you had people message you about it? Um, what do you think?
Yeah. So lot to unpack. Inferno X, I I think is gonna be a big set.
Yeah,
Um, I think we're still waiting to see what the illustrations look like for some of the top chases. Um, but regardless, it's a Charizard set, and there's always going to be hype around Charizard. Um, some more, some less than others. Obsidian Flames, not as much, but look at it where it's at now.
yeah,
Versus Phantasmal Flames, like if we get a good illustration, rare of Charizard, we're done. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
it's gonna be intense. So
yeah,
Inferno X, I am considering. I'm absolutely doing pre-orders, but to give you a little insight on how the Japanese market works on the Japanese side, so they will start getting product now. They are having ideas of what pre-orders are going to be like on their end today. A week ago, and how they do it is they give you a couple of different tiers of pricing for boxes. Um, and so you can pre-order boxes to be delivered before the Japanese launch, or to be shipped before the Japanese launch day, so that it gets to the U.S. on release day. And release day is September 26th in Japan for Inferno X, um, which is going to be a Friday in the U.S. And so those are going to be the most expensive though. And right now, prices are looking very high. uh, Prices that we haven't seen since, the glory of Team Rocket, might even be higher.
yeah. They're
Um,
high before even the tariffs and shipping.
yeah, I
They're
know.
high even before that. Yeah, that's how high they are.
So we're in a weird situation. It's really about, your risk tolerance, with pre-orders and Japanese releases. I think this risk, in my opinion, is less risky simply because of the set that I think it's going to be, and
Yeah,
sort of the hype that I'm seeing. Because to answer your question, yes, I do have people that are already interested in pre-orders or asking me like, when is this going live, or like, how can I get some? And so I think people will like. It kind of goes back to a conversation we had last week about tariffs and prices, and like, people are still willing to pay for the tariffs.
yeah,
That's what we're seeing. Is there a little bit more hesitancy? Yes. But still, sales are still happening. And
yeah,
I think when you have Japanese sets release, I think there's a lot of the people that are tuned into the Pokemon scene are really tuned into, a Japanese release, because that's where we first see English cards.
yeah,
Um, and so that first weekend of the release, I think will be pretty intense.
yeah,
And so, long story short, my strategy is I will be pre-ordering. I haven't decided if I'm going to choose any of the options to get pre-orders like the day of release, or if I'll just do the more normal price and it gets here 3-4 days after. So haven't decided that. Absolutely will be doing pre-orders. I think this will be the biggest Japanese release at Zippy's Card Corner
yeah,
by a long shot.
yeah.
um, and I'm excited for it. I'm a little nervous, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. Well, give me your thoughts though. I'm interested in hearing what you have to think.
So my only hesitancy is the fact that Mega Evolution releases literally on the same flipping day.
Yeah,
So
it's a
you
good
you have
point.
to start you just have to start doing like some napkin math where it's like, okay, because you have to assume to get Mega Evolu let's say a booster box of Mega Evolution, you're gonna have to pay over MSRP most likely, unless you get really lucky, you gotta catch a restock somewhere. So let's say you buy, at release, it's $225 a booster box. You're paying, I don't know, $60, $65 over MSRP. It's probably a decent
Sure.
range where, they'll be
Yeah,
at release.
that would make sense.
And then, if Phantasmal Flames, if we're seeing it where we have to list it at 150 plus a box, I guess where does that tolerance sort of where's that line in the sand where someone goes, you know what, instead of buying that, I'm just going to buy the new English release. If I'm
Yeah,
paying that much money, why don't I just buy the English booster box? That's my only hesitancy. Now, I still think it's going to be, talked a little bit about this last week, but I think a lot of it depends on the, uh, the illustrations. I really do.
yeah,
Because, you know, we've learned from Darkness Ablaze, Obsidian Flame, right, that Charizard isn't enough. If
yeah,
the illustration, is poor, or I shouldn't say poor, it's not as popular. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it can definitely, I mean, it can definitely fall flat. So I just want to be careful. I don't want to overly invest in Inferno X, even though I still think it's going to be huge. I'm trying to like pull myself back a little.
Yeah.
I want to order like 50 plus boxes of this, you
Yep.
know. A lot of it's going to depend on the illustrations, how pre-orders go on the site. Typically, I don't get a ton of cancels. So um, I think I my gut though is that it's going to be big. They're going to do the illustrations right, and it's going to be awesome. That's what my gut is.
That makes sense. And I think what your hesitancy is sound.
Yeah,
Um, what I would say is like if I put myself in the shoes of a customer, the average customer, like someone that is into Pokemon, kind of knows what's going on, knows about Inferno X,
yeah,
is flipping through live streams of people opening packs, because that's what's going to go crazy on
yeah,
day one, or people having product that are opening it on stream,
yeah,
platforms like WhatNot, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but
yeah,
seeing that and getting FOMO about it. So the one thing I want to say is not just my thoughts about it. With Mega Evolution, like it's a tale as old as time with English Pokemon over the past year. Like
yeah,
it's not will they buy it, it's can they buy it.
yeah,
And that's been the problem with every single set, especially on release. Like
yeah,
people can't get product.
yeah,
You're gonna have people that are waiting in line at GameStop starting at like 1 a.m.
yeah,
Target's gonna be, a line out the door.
yeah,
Um, and doesn't matter what Pokemon says, we've seen it time and time again. They are not putting enough out there on release to satiate the
yeah,
the desire for English sets. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We're seeing small businesses that have shared sort of a high level idea about what their allocations are, about how they're going to be split up. The release of Mega Evolution will be split about 60-40 in terms of allocation
true.
to businesses, which is another thing to think about.
Yeah,
But 100% agree. Like, it's a really weird day because
yeah,
we have Mega Evolution, Inferno X,
yeah,
and we have Simplified Chinese, Gym Pack Volume 3, all
that's
releasing on
true.
September 26th.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah,
it's like a Pokemon perfect storm for people that like are really into like the understanding of all of these different languages. Because every single one of these, like, Mega Evolution will have new English megas for the first time in over 10 years.
yeah,
Inferno
forever.
X is gonna have Mega Charizard, which is a hyped in its own, and
Yeah,
then Gem Pack Volume 3 is gonna have like exclusive illustration rares with like specifically like nocturnal and spooky Pokemon, which
yeah,
is like perfect for the next
yeah,
couple of months.
yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's gonna be a wild week. I just that's the conclusion that I've come
It's gonna
to.
be a wild week. Yeah, that's for sure. And yeah, I forgot about Mega Evolution getting delayed, so that's going to be another factor. Um, but yeah, I
Makes our
mean,
jobs harder.
yeah, it makes our jobs harder, and that's the exact reason, by the way, why I did not order. I'm not doing the Chinese set. It's just because
Yeah.
with Inferno X and Mega Evolution releasing on the same day, it just seems too risky.
Yeah.
But yeah, what the podcast after that release will be interesting. I'll say
Oh
that.
yeah.
So make sure you guys tune in.
It'll
um,
be fun one though. That one. Stay tuned for that one.
yeah,
Also, I want to take this time to prompt the viewer. Please ask us questions in the comments on our Instagram. That's another thing. We've created a new Instagram account for this podcast. So
yes,
that has its own account. We're going to be posting content daily. Reels, stories, just everything about this podcast will be on that account. And so follow us there, ask us questions there, because I imagine that weekend's going to be fun to answer some of the questions that you guys have a burning desire to see answered. So please do that. Instagram, YouTube comments, wherever. That'd be much appreciated. Anyways, bringing back to the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, and yeah, yes, please. That is super important, and we'd be forever grateful. Um, so, Logan, uh, during the last few episodes of our podcast, I know we talked a lot about, the grind of content creation, a lot of the challenges and
Yeah,
hurdles
yeah,
around running a Pokemon card store.
yeah.
It's a lot harder than um, you might think, before you go in and start a Pokemon card business. But I really wanted to talk about you know, what are your favorite things about running a Pokemon card business? What's the most amount of joy that you get from selling Pokemon cards? And
Hmm.
um, if you could talk about like
Yeah, 100%.
how rewarding it is for you
Definitely.
personally.
So one thing that I've just come to like be super grateful for is just like having a need to kind of be in the Pokemon space and just know what's going on. Like uh, I remember growing up as a kid, like always typing up, before like a major game, like what are the leaks? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's this new Pokemon that's coming out? Like, what are the new Pokemon coming out? And I remember doing that every single year because I just loved Pokemon. Um, and I got away from that and did other stuff and grew up, but having coming back to it, like it's fun just being in this community,
Yeah.
and like having a reason to. Uh, so that's super cool and reminds me every day like this is super fun. So that's one thing. Um, in terms of rewarding stuff, I think like it's so interesting over the course of the past year that my business has been open. Like, uh, my first sale, like having like giving someone something that they truly wanted, like was super cool. And that has only grown over more sales that I've gotten. These English drops, for example, it's kind of like what I said earlier, like giving people the opportunity to have English Pokemon cards at a normal, price, that doesn't, break the bank. Because I'm not here to make the most maximum amount of profit that I can. I'm here to sell Pokemon cards to Pokemon fans. um,
Yeah.
and that's been super cool. I've had a lot of email exchanges with people who have, you know, uh, like had questions about cards or questions about products. And it's so weird to feel like, really nice about answering those questions. Like, like because it shows that people care. And when I show that I care back, that it's like, oh, cool. Like, this is like a real person. That's not just some, weird, scalper. Like this is like a real person with a real business who is selling real Pokemon cards at, good prices. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just fun. It's just fun and it's cool.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I'd say those two big things are right now. There's probably more. What about you, though? Let me get
Yeah.
inspired.
So one of the things that I'm very grateful for, and I realize this as I've gotten a little older, in adulthood.
Yeah,
It's very rare to be able to make money doing something that you're passionate about.
yeah,
So that's something I realize that I'm very lucky. Like
yeah,
I am truly I truly love Pokemon cards, and being able to make money as a store owner doing what I love is really awesome.
yeah,
Um, and I think there's something about to being able to geek out with someone where I don't know their political background. I
yep,
don't know where they grew up. I don't know what their religion is.
yep,
It doesn't matter. It's we're geeking out over Pokemon cards. So I
yeah,
think that, especially in the world today, I just think that that's something to treasure. I think that's just something uh, that I've just realized over last few days, especially.
yeah,
Something I'm super super grateful for that I have.
Definitely.
And there's something too about like feeling like a kid,
Sure.
in
Yeah.
adulthood. We have like as adults, like we have so many responsibilities and so many
Yeah.
things we have to do. It's cool to have something to where you could truly like have a big smile on your face and feel like a kid again. Um, I think those are the two big things that I think I'd call out.
Well, and it's cool, kind of like what you said and what I said. Like, we both really enjoy Pokemon. And,
Yeah.
like, I remember as a kid feeling almost ashamed. It's like, like I was, um, like my friend group, like, not many people played Pokemon, but like I was like over, like I'd have my Game Boy, at home. Like, I'd be playing for hours. Like, I loved Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's just been cool to have grown up, still have that love for it, still have that, the fun, excitement about, new Pokemon or seeing a new card or hearing about new games. Um, and just realizing that there's a huge amount of people that are in the same boat and same age, like it's like, you know, uh, like, right on the cusp of being a millennial, like, that's there's a whole group of us that like that are into Pokemon, and it's just so fun. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm so grateful to be in this position to where I can make money that's doing something that I truly am having fun with, and share with other people that are in the same boat. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of comes to a head from our previous podcast where we talk a lot about look, there are a lot of challenges and hurdles with starting a Pokemon card business. There is a bit of a grind
Yes.
to in creating content and running a business. But if you truly love it, and you'll know right away how much you
Yeah,
love it,
right. Yeah.
I just it's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But I will stick to what I've said earlier, and that's if you don't love it, I would not recommend doing it.
No.
Would
There's
not
other
recommend it.
businesses that you should do if that's truly what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so speaking of our businesses, Logan, something I really wanted to ask you is how big do you want to get?
Yeah.
Because like, do you see a ceiling? Because there are a lot of challenges as it is with running a small business, but the challenges just grow exponentially the bigger that you get.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking about space,
Yep.
employees, there's Nexus tax law, there's there's a lot of challenges there too. So I wanted to get your take. How big do you want to get?
So yeah, I think that's a fun question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have a lot of different goals.
Yeah.
I started this business um, being inspired by Brian from Poke and seeing sort of how he grew and where he was at when I started a year ago, and he was making, he might have not hit $1 million yet a year, but like making a lot of money with Pokemon. And I didn't have a goal to do that. I think my initial goal, and I still want to stick by this. I'll leave it open for more, but I want to be able to have enough money to pay my bills, every single month. And I have a full-time job. Like, I'm paying my bills, my own. But
Sure.
it'd be so cool if I just had this side Pokemon business that I spent time and have had fun with every single month. Um, outside of my day-to-day job, outside of other things going on in life, that could pay my bills, pay rent, utilities, in profit, and then have enough to do it for the next month.
Yeah.
And so that's still the North Star for me, and trying to follow that. Now, like I said, I'm open to this being an empire. No, just kidding. Um, um, but I think that's my goal. We have a couple questions we can dive into this later. But what's your goal, and what how big do you want to be, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So So for the viewers that don't know, I just hit $100,000 in sales in just over a year. So we hit about over $100,000 about 3 weeks ago or so. Um, and if there's a ceiling, I certainly don't see it yet.
Yeah,
I'll put
I
it that
know.
way. I definitely I don't feel like I'm anywhere near close to the
Yeah.
ceiling. Now, when it gets to the point where I can't do it by myself anymore, where I
Yeah.
have to hire employees,
Yep.
I think I'm okay with hiring one or two,
Yeah.
but if it gets to the point like where like I have to have warehouse space,
Yeah.
or like I have to um I have to have like management and everything else, I
Hmm.
think that that's too big. Now, where that is as far as like sales, like I would think that would be in the millions of dollars at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think I'm anywhere near close. Um, I guess my sort of short term goal is similar to yours. I want to continue to grow. I want to get to the point where um, the amount of money I get from sales is more than enough to invest in more product and to also have some left over at the end of every month.
Yep.
I want to grow month to month, um, and then see where that takes me. But I certainly don't see any ceiling yet. now
And
now
then,
now something I'll say to our viewers as well. Logan and I, we both work in a very
mm,
similar
yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
And I guess Logan, I'll ask you this: do you see this Pokemon card business? Do you see it replacing your day job someday?
Hmm. Um, so transparency mode. Work, in software. So, software development, computers, tech, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and so I make pretty decent money. Just being completely honest. So, in terms of Pokemon, it's hard to say. Um, I think for it to replace my job and to go full time, it would have to be, like, oh, like we're at, Brian, Pokeanis level. When like that's the thing about Pokemon is like, Alex talked about it a second ago. Like margins are not super high with Pokemon.
No,
We're talking like, between 10 and 20%,
yeah,
on average per product. That's those are slim margins.
yeah,
And give and take whatever month's going on in bear market, bull market, whatever, it's like, you could be looking at even less. So it's a numbers game is what
it
Pokemon
is.
is. And so you just got to sell a lot. And that's sort of, why, we preach that you need an audience because, you can't just get by with just a couple sales. Like you have to churn Pokemon every single month, every single week. Um,
Yeah,
so anyways, I think that I think it could. It's a whole lot of grinding though. Like,
uh,
this isn't a goal for this year, next year.
oh
Like, we're talking like 3 to 5 years from
yeah,
now.
oh yeah. We're
And
talking long term. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that's my thought. So we're not there yet. And
yeah,
not even close.
yeah,
But I'm having fun still. So as long as
yeah.
I'm still having fun and I'm still seeing growth, I'm still seeing people interested. We're gonna keep doing it. What
Yeah,
about you
and
though?
I think that's a big factor too. Um, if I grow to the point where it's not fun anymore, then I think I've grown too big. Is having employees and dealing with Nexus tax law where I have to have accountants and this and that, it might get to the point where it's just not fun anymore.
Yep.
If it ever gets to that point, then I think that's a good indicator that okay, you've gotten a little bit too big. So yeah, it's really interesting though to talk about like sort of the 3 to 5 year sort of time timeline, and
Yeah.
But
What about you
yeah,
though? Would you have this, replace, your day job?
yeah. I mean, similar to you, it would have to be a lot.
Hmm.
I do think we're on that trajectory if
Yeah.
we continue to grow the way we're growing.
Yep.
Um, but just because I've seen, you know, in the last 6 months, we're just continually growing. We're
Yep.
getting more and more customers.
Yeah, we've
We're
not
getting
plateaued
more.
yet.
We've definitely not plateaued yet. And if we continue that, who knows? Maybe in 2 or 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but it would certainly, it would definitely be, it would definitely be a hard decision. I'll
Yeah.
say that, and it would have to be. So for those of you who don't know, I have a family. I have 2 kids and a
Yeah.
wife. So it would definitely, I have responsibilities. It's not just me that I think about when I make these kind of decisions.
Yeah.
Um, but I certainly I definitely hope so. I'll say that someday it will
Yeah.
it will eventually replace that job.
It's what I'll say is if I continue to grow, that's great. Um, I don't think that I would be comfortable leaving my day job, leaving my industry, um, before going through a bear market cycle.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that the experience that we would gain from going through that and succeeding and coming out coming out of it the other end, still alive and kicking, I think would be super valuable.
yeah,
And I think that without doing without going through that struggle, and just kind of understanding what that looks like, how you deal with it, learning from it. Um, I think I'd be very hesitant to. I think right now, you have a ton of businesses like Alex and I, you know, that are popping up all the time, especially with WhatNot and live streaming platforms. Um, people understand that, Pokemon's a good spot to be in right now.
yeah,
And the truth is, a lot of these aren't going to last, more than, the bull market that we're currently in.
yeah,
Pokemon will have a downturn again, just like everything else. And as just like every other asset, every collectible that ever was.
yeah,
I just think that uh, it's so important to understand like what it is that you want. And it's like if you just want to make money right now, that's fine. That's not Alex and I's intention. We started this business before the boom, just on the cusp of it. But
yeah,
you know, so my point is like a lot of these businesses will hit the bear market when it does come, whether that's in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, I don't know. And then the bear market will kind of flatten things. Things will settle. Kind of find out where the Pokemon market is and sort of what people want at the time and what prices are looking like. I don't know. Um, but I think it's important that businesses like Alex and I's go through that. Just understand what that's like and to come out of it on the other end fighting. Before, big decisions like, oh, time to quit my day job. Um,
yeah.
so I just want to call that out.
Yeah, for sure. And for our viewers, we'll give you guys updates as we continue this podcast and the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I want to bring this question up, throughout
periodically. Yeah.
periodically, because I do think it's an interesting topic. Um, but so Logan, another thing I really wanted to talk to you about, and I don't have much experience with this, and I know
Hmm.
you do, is streaming on Whatnot.
Yeah.
So Whatnot is kind of a cool platform, right? You can stream a show where you open packs and you have an audience that you can sell product to. It's kind of like it's almost a little bit like Twitch, where people can just jump in and view your live stream and just jump in and buy stuff or just be a viewer.
Yep.
Um, so Logan, do you recommend Whatnot to new sellers? And can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been with Whatnot?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot to unpack here. So a little bit more context on Whatnot. These are live streaming, these are selling live stream platforms. Whatnot, there's Drip, there's other ones. This all started overseas in China years ago. Those are the TikToks where you see people like you'll see women, they're changing outfits, you know, having a new bag, throwing it away, new bag, throwing it away in seconds. New product, new something, every couple of seconds, and they're showing off product. People are buying it, doing millions of dollars every single stream. This is a big thing over the past couple of years in China, and it's making its way into the U.S. and not just Pokemon cards, but everything, sneakers, people just selling vintage clothes. So it's growing for sure. Now Pokemon new businesses. I think that it is definitely a opportunity to get your feet wet. And it is a way to be successful. It's just a lot of work, and in a different way. So there's so many different things about streaming that are hard. Um,
Yeah.
so with Whatnot, you are competing with other streamers who already have audiences, but like there's the, how do I say this? Like when you go live, you're just hoping that people come into your stream, and that they'll interact, engage with other people, other viewers in the chat, and then buy. And you have to be entertaining
Yeah.
for the entire duration of the stream. Um, and you get better at it over time, but it's hard still. And the Whatnot algorithm is an algorithm, just like Instagram, just like all these other social media platforms. There is a game to play in order to get, to grow and see success. And to do that, you need to be streaming for, 3 to 4 hours every stream, 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
And 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 on top of that, like you have other people that where that's their business. That is their strategy. That is their only way of doing things. I get it. That's fine. You know, it gets messy when you have, your site, your business that you're promoting on Instagram or you're, promoting to your followers. Um, and so when you're doing both of those, it's just a lot of time. Not saying you
Yeah.
can't do it, but you're gonna have to devote a lot of time to it. I'll pause there because there's a lot more that I can dive into. Any questions or anything else you want to dive into, though, Alex?
Yeah, so something I wanted to highlight for viewers watching is at any given time, there's dozens of people streaming the exact same thing that you are.
Hundreds,
I mean,
thousands.
hundreds. I
Yeah,
mean, at any given time, and
yeah.
especially at times where you would be available to stream, like on weekends and
Yep.
at nights. It's even going
That's
to
when everyone
be
else is available too.
when everyone else is streaming. And something I wanted to ask you about, and this is something that I've heard other people say, is the strategy that some people do to combat that oversaturation is essentially buying viewers,
Oh,
where you're doing these giveaways for the purpose of,
oh, that's what you mean.
yeah, so just for the purpose of, getting more viewers. And
Yep.
I just, when I heard that, the first thing that came to mind was that that's just not sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing, with Whatnot, with these streaming platforms, like it's really hard to organically grow.
Yeah,
And you have a lot of people that are in it for the givvies is what it's called. People call them
right.
givvies. People pop in, they'll say, "Hey, any givvies?" And no. Like, man, I'm trying to make, money here.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye, and they pop out.
Yeah,
So absolutely it's a thing. And
yeah,
I've seen a lot of people with success do them. Um, and again, there's likely a lot of strategy that goes into it. I just like it's too much work for me. I've done it before. I will say it is a great way to offload product that is not moving. There is so many different ways to do this. People have a spinning wheel, where they spin it, and people can, have a slot on the wheel for, a prize. Um, you can do, box breaks where you'll open a box and people can buy packs of those box breaks. There's so many different ways to offload product that is not moving. And I've seen success in that way. Um, it's just not what I want to be spending my time on in order to sell most of my product. I would rather, be creating content, building an audience of buyers that are wanting to buy on their own.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I'll be honest. I think a lot of people think that rip and shippers are going to go away, and the once the market goes bearish again, where prices start to settle, people aren't as hyped about Pokemon. I think that's a fair argument. I think it's also just one that people are making because of the hype right now.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to what I said about China. China's been doing this for years, and they do it with all kinds of product. I think Pokemon is just another product. I don't think rip and ship live streaming is going anywhere. Does it mean that it's going to be as hot, as hot as it is now? No, but that's the same thing as a bear market, bear bull market. I think there will always be live streaming Pokemon sellers, and I think that it is inevitable. Um, I think that it is important for businesses like us to understand it, to keep our ear to the ground about what's going on with it. And I think I do think it's going to be such a pivotal way that shopping changes over the next 5-10 years.
Hmm.
That I think it's important for us to understand it. Doesn't mean we have to do it. Like I said, right now it's too much work for me. Um, like it's not the way that I want to be selling. But I recognize that if you put in the effort, and you put in the time, it can absolutely be, the ticket to a lot of sales. I'll say that.
Interesting. So I was actually reached out to about partnering with WhatNot,
Which is
um,
super cool.
which
That's
is
super
super
fun.
cool. Which is cool. But another, let's say another concern I have. So the fees on WhatNot are much higher than
Yeah,
if you were to sell it just on your own site that you made with Wix or Shopify. It's
yeah,
similar. I don't know the exact fees, but it's similar to if you sold on eBay,
yeah,
the fees.
yeah,
So, not only is, the time investment there as a store owner, but then your viewers are having to buy product closer to market because of the fees that they charge to us as sellers. So from my I guess standpoint is it's a huge time investment, and the time that I would spend streaming I feel like would be better served by um, marketing my own store, right? Marketing product on my own store.
yeah,
And it's better for my customers because they're getting a better price.
yeah.
So what do
Those
you think? What do you think about that take?
that all makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the difference is with Whatnot, with these live streaming platforms, it's about entertainment,
Right.
and people
Yeah.
are willing to pay for entertainment.
Yeah.
Um, that is the key. You
Yeah.
have people that are not big, that are having 10 and 20 people in their stream. That's not to say that that's not a lot, but there are people that have hundreds, thousands. Um, and those, we're not talking about those. Those are the whales.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your typical, business, that's, between 10 and 50 people on average. Um, they are making money by entertaining. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is take Mega Brave Mega Symphonia, Japanese set that released a month ago. At the time, on release week, super hyped. That's where live streaming is going to be super big. On these streams, you're pulling cards that no one has ever seen before. Um, those people are selling 5 packs of Mega Brave Mega Symphonia for $10, $20. Um, and people are buying them because entertainment,
Yeah.
because they want to feel like they have a connection to the streamer that's streaming, as well as showing off, oh, these are my cards. I just bought this.
Yeah.
Everyone look. That is
Right.
such an important and psychological thing to think about. Like
Yeah.
with those sort of customers, um, it's it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, that's just how it is. People do it. Um, and talking about Mega Brave Mega Symphonia, it's something that I'm considering for Inferno X. Like
Yeah.
to be completely honest.
Yeah.
With pre-orders happening, uh, there's a part of me that is thinking, okay, maybe I can stream once or twice during the launch of Inferno X and get some customers that way, especially if, I have some pre-orders that cancel or things don't move as quickly. I know that they will move on Whatnot.
On whatnot.
Problem is, it's the audience. You got to have audience. And to get
Right.
audience is you got to go through the grind. And it's a
Right.
totally different grind than Instagram. Anyways, said enough. I think that it's important for us to understand it. I'd even say it's important for us to try it out. My recommendation, I take it up. I take up the Whatnot, the partnership, understand what it's about, and give it a shot. I think it's important. I think it's a skill that we'll need over the next 5-10 years if it's something that our businesses grow into. Um, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that those are good things to chew on, especially streaming on release day. I think especially is interesting
Yeah,
because it would make sense that, hey, it's a new set, like,
no one's ever
people are
seen it
opening it
before.
for the first time.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not even looked at what cards are in the set yet.
Yep.
Um, so I do think that there's some to chew on for that in particular.
Yeah. It's just a matter of finding the strategy because it's a
Yeah,
totally different strategy. Like we said,
yeah,
giveaways are a big thing. And if you're not doing them, you are the odd one out.
yeah,
Um, I don't know if you like, there's also an auction kind of aspect to it where you'll start out, $1 a pack or
yeah,
$1 for this product and people just bid up. That's a risk.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know. It's just something to think about.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Cool. And let us know, by the way, on the podcast, Logan, if during next week's episode, if you're gonna stream,
Yeah,
definitely call it out.
definitely. Yeah, no, I will. We'll see. But yeah, this was a fun one. We're at time. We,
Yeah,
we we have the whole couple of topics to go over, but we don't have time. We'll save those for next time. But I enjoyed this one.
yeah, same. I love it. I enjoy uh, talking back and forth with you on this stuff. You know, um, the whatnot thing in particular is really interesting. I'm definitely chewing on that right now.
Yeah,
But
no, definitely.
yeah, but guys, yeah, I'm here with Logan from Zippy's Card Corner. I'm Alex from Poke Legends TCG. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. And again, please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time, we'll catch you later.
See ya. Thanks.